Good morning or good afternoon, Tigers. Today we'll be watching a Quizzette video on Quizzette 708.5. As always, please make sure that you write your last name, comma, first name, today's date, and circle your appropriate class color. On number 1 and number 2 for each day, you are going to see multiplication of integers. Remember, the definition of integers are just positive and negative whole numbers. Number 1 for Monday, it says -1 times 5. So here you might notice that you have a negative number times, this little dot means times, a positive number. When you have a negative times a positive, it is negative. Negative. When you have a, let's say you were to have a positive times a negative, that would still be negative. The negative wins. A negative person and a positive person together is going to they're going to turn negative, okay? Now, if you have two positive people, they stay positive. Now, here's what is a little tricky. When you have a negative person with another negative person, don't you think that that makes them happy because they found someone that they have in common? A negative times a negative is positive. I know I haven't taught you this yet. I'll tell you the reasons why. We'll do our notes and everything this week. Number 1, you have a negative times a positive. Negative times a positive is negative, so you know your answer is going to be negative. Now, 1 times 5 is 5, so it's -5. Number 2, you have a -2 and a -7. Don't you think that that's going to make them happy that they have a negative person and another negative person? 2 times 7 is 14. And it's positive 14 because a negative times a negative is positive. Number 3, go ahead and add those two together. You already know they have the same denominator, so you can add straight across. So you have 3 over 4 minus, let me erase that, minus 5 over 4. You already know when you see subtraction, you must change it to the addition. Go ahead and write this down, of the opposite. So this subtraction turns into addition. The positive 5 turns into a -5 over 4. You keep the same denominator. 3 plus -5, they're different signs, so you subtract. 5 minus 3 is 2. Keep the sign of the bigger number. The bigger number is 5, and it's negative. So your answer is -2/4. However, you can reduce that. 2 goes into both of those. 2 goes into 2 one time, and 2 goes into 4 two times. So it's -1/2. Number 4. They do not have the same common denominator. This one is 4 and this one is 2. I can multiply the first fraction by 2 over 2 to get me 4 on the bottom. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Now I can subtract 1/4. Remember, I had to change it to the addition of the opposite. 2 and -1 together, you just have 1 left over. Keep the same denominator, 1/4. So number 5 this week, it didn't copy right on the copies that you guys have. It didn't copy the number lines. The copier, it was just too light for it. So we're going to make the number line for number 5 Monday number 1. We're not going to make the other ones yet. We'll do them at the end of the video. So for number 5, I want you to draw a number line. Draw a straight line like you see it there. And I want you to count the amount of ticks that it has. So here on 0, it has 1. And then it has another one right here. So between 0 and 1, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 ticks. So if you start from 0, 0 has 1. Here's another. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The 10th little mark is 1. The 9th mark is D. And then all these other ones, there should be 8. Sorry, there should be 7. So go ahead and make sure you have 10 total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Sorry, 11 total because 0 has 1 as well. You can pause the video, make sure that you have it exactly like I have it pictured, double check it, and then when you're ready, you can proceed with the tutorial. You know what, guys? I realized this was just going to be too much work. So what I want you to do, we're just going to do number 5, but on Tuesday, number 5, we're going to skip it. So go ahead and just do this. Skip. Wednesday, number 5, skip. And then Thursday and Friday, go ahead and write skip. I'm just going to show you how to do Monday, number 1. In case you ever see a question like this, you'll know what to do. So it says, find the value of D and write your answer as a decimal form. So here I will see, I notice that 0 is the start of the number line and 1 is the end. So if I'm counting these, I know that there's 10 places or 9 places in between. I can count by tens, so 0, 0.1, 0.10, 0.20, 0.30, 0.40, 0.50, 0.60, 0.70, 0.80, 0.90, and then 1. So D, if I'm just counting by tenths, would be 0.10. I'm sorry, 0.9. 0.9. So my answer would be 0.9 or 0.90. It's the same thing because it's in the tenths place. Something I would like for you guys to notice on number 1 and number 2 for each day is your signs. So pay attention to your signs. Make sure that you write this diagram. Pause the video if you need to. Make sure you always reference this diagram. And then the same thing goes for number 3 and number 4. Pay attention to those signs because you're doing the same sign, add and keep, or different sign, subtract for number 3 and 4. So number 3 and 4, you're adding and subtracting integers. Number 1 and 2, you're multiplying and dividing. Thank you, Tigers. Have a good week. If you have questions, raise your hand.